February, the month of love, and also the month where you get a few days less to game your games, broski. And what a shame that is, because holy frijoles, the month is jam-packed with releases in both the RPG and JRPG spaces. So much so that one company in particular, being Ubisoft in releasing AC Shadows, looked at the release calendar for February and thought, the hell with that, we'll postpone our game for development reasons. Yeah, right, buddy. We all know your game would have been trampled by the amazing releases coming up this month. So without any more filler, subscribe if you're new and let's take a look at some awesome RPGs and JRPGs releasing in February of 2025 that should definitely be on your radar. Now, starting off in order of release dates, we have the very highly anticipated Kingdom Come Deliverance Dose. That's coming out on February 4th, broskis. It's a hardcore action RPG that aims to be the perfect sequel, with just adding more of everything to its predecessor that released all the way back in 2018 and was met with somewhat of a cult following, and for good reason, honestly, because broski, this game is amazing. Think of it like Middle Ages simulator, as you take the role of a blacksmith's boy named Henry of Skalitz. Now, in the original game, you started off as a p-boy peasant, and due to unfortunate circumstances, you are left to fend for yourself and actually try to learn how to be a knight and try to piece together what, why, and who to kill in an attempt for revenge at what has transpired in the past. Now, the carne of the game is the moment-to-moment exploration, the combat, the dialogue, and everything in between, really. As like I said, the game is hardcore. Like, you have to make sure you're clean and have good reputation amongst the different towns and villages of Bohemia, because word does go around if you do some criminal deeds like steal, beat someone up, or go on a murdering spree. Like, I personally love how reactionary the game world is to your actions, and in the sequel they aim to just increase all of that tenfold, or twofold actually, because the world is about twice the size now, or at least that's what Warhorse Studios are promising. There are also way more options to go about in the sequel that ensure different kinds of playthrough for each and every one of us gamers out there, and just more options to RP the f out of this game, as you can really make your version of Henry instead of just be locked into a generic protagonist set of options. Now, this time around, Henry of Skalitz is a bit more adept in with his skills at using weaponry, and instead of just wildly swinging about like we all did in the original title, let's be honest, you can now pull off some super freaking awesome looking finishers, as well as some other skills that must feel super satisfying to pull off. In any case, the game drops, like I said, February 4th, so there's still a few days to actually clear your immediate backlog before jumping into this, as it will no doubt take 100+ hours to complete easily. Now, next up on the list, we have a treat for you JRPG dudes out there, and dudettes of course, as The Legend of Heroes Trials Through Daybreak 2 is finally releasing for the rest of the world on the day of all days, no less. By that I mean the great Dia de Valentinos, which is just Valentine's Day, oddly enough, with terrible Spanish. Now, for you eagle-eyed viewers or fans out there, Trials Through Daybreak 2 released originally in Japan a little ways back in 2022 and is only now being ported to us, the rest of the world of eager JRPG fans who could think of nothing better to do on Valentine's Day than to jump into the world of Calvard for the second time in the series. That has, bro, that game has like a gazillion sequels in this series, broski. Like, let's be honest, there's almost as many entries in this series that there are in Call of Duty, but for good reason, because it's a somewhat popular game, not only because of its overly convoluted story as per JRPG usual, but also its combat system, which was revamped in the first Trials Through Daybreak game, and here it's been further updated with new combo mechanics like EX Chain and Cross Charge. The combat system in this game does somewhat resemble that of a more recent game as well, which was praised up the waz, and by that I mean Metaphor ReFantasio, with both games sharing the kind of live action to turn-based combat through a seamless system that looks as awesome as it is undoubtedly hectic at times. Another interesting concept in this upcoming JRPG is how the story unfolds, as in every act they're split into chapters, and the game story is told through the point of view of a certain character in each chapter. And what's even more interesting is that you can choose the order in which to experience these chapters in, so you get to detect the vibes at your own pace, which is cool. So if you're interested in conducting a murder investigation while simultaneously, why not indulge in the act yourself against different kinds of animals and fiends, this game looks to be a good mix of action, combat, and eerie mystery. So if that sounds like the game for you, broski, then February 14th, man, that game can't come any sooner. Following this up is the game that has been very eagerly waited on, and hopefully this time players can actually jump into the world of Avowed on February 18th. Now, the game has been pushed back, kind of like my hairline once I hit 30, from fall of 2025 2024 and now in 2025, of course. But these last few weeks, man, I gotta be honest, they haven't really been all that promising in hitting this ever so awaited release date, because even though the Steam page still shows the release date to be the 18th, and for all intents and purposes it is the 18th, multiple players who pre-ordered the game have reported that the game has just vanished from their libraries altogether. But that's not all, as apparently the early access stuff has also been removed, on top of the backlash that the company has received in recent months over their comments, not to mention the lack of physical copies being sold for the game. There are none. I don't know, broski, man. I had to double check that you got my point on that case. But anyway, this upcoming semi-world open world RPG, wow, is set in the same world as Pillars of Eternity, and you are tasked with figuring out a mysterious power called the Dream Scourge, and to then decide what to do with it once you find it and figure out what it is. Like, broski, this game is full of choices. There are 3 known factions in the game, all with apparently opposing ideals, and you as the player of your custom character, of course, as well as your 2 active companions, by the way, get to decide the course of action and how the story and the world kind of unfold and unravel. Now, I don't think I need to advertise this game any more than that, and hopefully I did at least some bit. Only because of the fact that Avowed is like one of the most anticipated RPGs to release in the last like 5 freaking years since its announcement, and it's still unknown if it's actually releasing on the 18th. But ending this preview on a positive note, you get the game day 1 if you're subscribed to the XBZ Game Pass ecosystem. So hopefully my X-bots out there can rejoice once the game does finally release and they get their hands on it, instead of having to hide their heads in shame, because I gotta be honest, man, the last few months of trickling information about Avowed hasn't really been all that promising, but let's hope. Now, thankfully, if Avowed doesn't end up releasing, then no worries, man, because on top of the previous games on the list, Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii is releasing on February 20th for you and many other gamers out there to sink their ever so dull teeth into. Previously known as Yakuza, of course, Like a Dragon is a hit JRPG series with multiple entries spanning multiple stories and a few different characters, as well as freaking time travel. Man, that is weird. And before you ask, yes, this game is un poco loco in all honesty, because it's as serious a game as it is hilariously funny at times, and the series is well aware of this fact, with the game being set in a modern day pirate world, which sounds crazy already. In this game, you take the role of the series favorite anti-hero Majima, or however you want to pronounce that, as he tries his absolute best to beat up as much ass as humanly possible on both land and sea. And yes, I know, there's a solid pause on that comment right there. The Like a Dragon series is known for its minigames as well, and over-the-top action and hilariously funny cutscenes, so expect all of that in the latest entry, my dudes. And the game as well looks like a good old fun time, and those kinds of games are sorely needed nowadays, because not every game has to be super serious in its tone. Like a Dragon has always known how to find the perfect mix between an engaging story and lightheartedness, and I do hope that's a real word. In any case, if you're a longtime fan, then this one is a no-brainer, of course, but for newcomers as well to the series, I see this game be one of those welcome to the series types of games to get hooked into. See what I did there? Hooked? You're a pirate. Moving on. Now, last but abso-friggin-lutely not least, I mean, this game requires no introduction, my broski, because it's my most anticipated game and many of your most anticipated games since the release of World and Rise, man. Monster Hunter Wilds finally drops on February 28th to kind of finish the month off, and boy oh boy does it look good. Admittedly, some OG Monster Hunter fans out there might notice that the game is going more of a mass audience-friendly route with a heavy emphasis on story this time around, with a fully voiced character to go about reducing the already whittling population of all the different monsters around this very vast world. Some new additions to this title are some weapon combo reworks, as well as a bigger map, or multiple maps I should say, to explore, with a new mount companion that can carry your gear, as well as a second freaking weapon. Like, broski, this game looks to be so cool. Like, I'm so hyped to be playing this. Now, I got to play the beta build of the game in the open beta back in December, I think it was, and there's another beta happening early on in February, so if you're man, you gotta try that. Now, for the uninitiated out there, the game is, like the title says, a Monster Hunter role-playing game where you take the helm as a new hunter who, through slowly making a name for themselves, is able to fight bigger and bigger monsters, and these fights are epic to say the very least. But it's not only fighting, man, because, well, it is really, but during your downtime you can craft weapons, eat food, make make armor and trinkets from the carcasses of your slain beasts. And this is where the real grind in the game is, and I love it for that, because there's always better and better stuff to work towards. If you've never played a Monster Hunter game, then definitely check out World or Rise, which you can nowadays get for dirt cheap. Or pick up Wilds once it finally drops on February 28th for all of us Charge Blade broskis out there. And that pretty much wraps it up for this video right here. I hope you did enjoy it. If you did, man, like the video, subscribe to the channel, of course. Let me know your comments, man. What game are you most hyped for the coming month? What game are you buying? What games are you buying? What are some games that are not on this list that you are super hyped for, man? Any and all comments take this video a long ass way to the greatness of the tube. So, man, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Have a great day wherever you're from, whichever time of day you watch this at. In any case, if you want to watch some more videos, man, click this link, click that link. I gotta check the screen that I'm pointing towards the right direction. Hope you guys have a great day. Like I said, I don't really know how to end this video, so enjoy the meme in the outro. I've been your broski. Keep on trucking my dudes. Peace.